I've never understood why they allow communism and socialism on the ballot unless they think that if they didn't allow it here on the ballot, then like a communist country or a socialist country wouldn't allow democracy on their ballots or some sort of a freer uh, political party to even run in a communist country. I'll tell you what, it doesn't make sense, if you think about it. What are we fighting communism for if we allow it on the ballot? I think you should disallow communism, social, anything that's not a freedom-based society, a bettering of society instead of going back to a slave state. Shouldn't be allowed on the ballot. I mean, what's the point? All these people died against communism, and then you allow it on the ballot. What kind of backstabbing crap is that? That's government for you. You do all a bunch of dying for them. Then they just stab you in the back. Oh yeah, you guys have been fighting communism, but we're gonna allow it on the ballot. So when you go to vote, you see communism on there. I wonder what all them World War II, World War One veterans are like. I don't know World War One because it was just starting back then, but I wonder what they were like. World War II veteran went into the voting booth and Republican, Democrat, Communist. Wait a second, let me read that again. Republican, Democrat, Communist. We fight the. Can you imagine how long these guys would be standing in that voting booth? You know, the old curtain types with the hand levers. Can you imagine how long they'd be standing in there looking at this and saying, wow, am I getting this old? I can't, is this a flashback from war? What country is this I'm in? What country am I in here? Looking at, is this communist? Because that's the first thing I did when I went into a voting booth. I was 18 or something like that. Was it 18 or 20? I can't remember. Whenever Reagan was running, I went in the voting booth and seen communists and socialists on the freaking voting booth, and I was like, what country is this? I didn't get lost in my head. I didn't think, wow, I'm in the wrong country. I was like, is this freaking for real, or is this some sort of a joke? And my first time they do this to you, the first time you vote, and it's like, what did I register for? Whatever they call it when you have to register for military when you're like 18. I'm like, what the heck's all this communist talk all the time in the 60s and during Vietnam? And they were like, oh yeah, we got to defeat the communists. The communists are going to take over the. And then they allow it. They freaking sit here and allow it on the ballot. Oh, they're communists going to take over. We got to send you boys over there. You got to fight and die. Yeah, it's communist. It's gonna swarm all over this planet, and then they allow it on the freaking ballot. I think we ought to sue the government until they get rid of socialism, communism, and any other party that allows some sort of governmental freaking slavery on a ballot. And every time it comes up, every time you hear, you see some party and they pushing some sort of communist agenda in their party without having the communist name. Just like all these Democrats, they're saying they're Democrats. Why don't they just join the Communist Party? They're all communists and socialists. Why don't they join the Communist Socialist Party? What are they doing as Democrats? Let's say, this ain't right. I mean, look at McCarthy and them back in, the 50s? When all those Hollywood stars, they were going after all those Hollywood stars, and everybody's like, oh, they're blaming Hollywood for being they're blaming Hollywood for being communist. Well, that's just crazy, there might be, they found one that said, but we're kind of iffy on whether he is. And now all of them are communists. Every freaking one of those freaking people are communists, and they're the ones that saying they ain't are probably just trying to persuade you into, oh yeah, come on back, watch more of our movies. We're not communists. Come on, look at me. I'm a I'm a lover of freedom. Yeah, we're not all communists. Yeah, and then they turn communists, or they put them in a movie where they're wearing a CCCP hat or a hammer and sickle or something like that. I don't think it should be allowed on the ballot. I think this country should rally against it and get rid of freaking communism. I don't think we should allow it in this country. I mean, hey, it's just me. But I don't believe in the people that sit around watching news and stuff thinking, well, we got communism on the ballot. That's the way it is. That's the way it's always going to be. I hate those kind of people. I hate people that just accept and comply with how society just can take them and say, no, this is how it's going to be. We're going to allow this kind of society. We're going to allow this kind of politics. Yeah, we're just going to let everything run. That's what they think is free. Yeah, no. Freedom you have to have morals in a free society, don't you? Talking to my rabbit, staring at me, wonder why I'm talking. I don't think it should be allowed on the ballot. I think it's a disgrace. I do. I don't even like. I quit voting every time I thought, well, maybe it's every time I went back, there it is. There's communism, socialism on the ballot. It's almost like that Indian has a tear inside from litter. That's what I'm thinking every time I'd step into the freaking voting booth and see communism. So I quit voting. Why go if they're going to allow? They think, well, it's nothing's gonna happen. We're never here. You got a communist and freaking congresswoman, and you got freaking all these other communists that ain't claiming to be communists. So you do have communists in there. It's just like all these outed homosexuals and stuff. You didn't know they were homosexual. Now it's oh wow, they're freaking guys or freaking people are homosexuals. That's how it is with these communists. You ain't seen them outed yet. Then all of a sudden, all these people sitting in the living room going, well, that's the way it is. That's the way it's always going to be. We just got to allow stuff. That's how people are. We just allow it. And turn the channel and let's see some more stuff that they allow to happen in the U.S. of A. Love this country. Love the way it is, yeah. Oh, look, we got a communist president. Wait, he's a dictator. We got to start calling him a dick because that's the way it is and that's the way it's always going to be and then never change. And you know what it is? It's the older people saying, well, that's the way it is. That's the way it's always going to be. I'm on my way out. I only got 5-10 more years to live and it's really not going to affect me until they take away all the, oh, look at them taking away all the freaking Social Security stuff. See, that's communist. That's communist, but you ain't seeing it routed. See, they word all this stuff different. All the communists word this stuff different, and they get other people in there that are greedy ones, the greedy, power hungry, or this and that, or well, you guys you're capitalists, so you're gonna get more I don't know, feedback or more money from all these corporations if you start pushing this agenda of taking away Social Security and do this and that, and take away some of these programs that everybody needs. Funnel it into your own account. That's what you want. And then this communists, they're sitting here in the back like, what is that? Not Doctor Who, freaking, not Doctor, what is it? Wizard of Oz? Oz, was it Oz? The Wizard of Oz in that thing where he's behind the curtain and he's running all the levers and stuff and making all this stuff and smoke and mirrors and stuff like that. And you don't see the communists controlling the country because they're persuading these other people that you think aren't communists to do the communist, the moving into they just keep setting it up and setting it up. Well, we're going to take away Social Security because we can use it someplace else and this, that, and the other. And then they come along and they say, well, we can change this and change that. Let's take away the weapons and then they're back here creating all these school shootings because they're psychologically miscued or whatever, And anybody with wants to be a communist, there's something wrong with their head. Except that they're power hungry. They just want everybody else's money. They just want stuff to just. I just want to sit at the bottom of the funnel of all the money and power and just have it come to me. I don't want to do nothing for it. I'll just work behind the scenes. I want that money and power coming to me. And so then you got all these communists that were working the levers back here, and they might well, you're good at working the levers, push us forward. You don't know we're communists, and you just work us like a puppet, and then you get this puppet regime of communists. You don't know that they're communists. Whoops! I said something wrong here, and then you have the whole freaking country communist, because people. It's like a frog in a bath in a warm water. You just slowly raise over 10, 20 years, and slowly turn. They know how to psychologically turn this. Because as far as I'm concerned, that's how they try to turn all these other countries. Everybody's got their fingers in every other country. Russia's got their fingers in country. China's got their fingers in country. Ones might be ecologically, this way. One might be morally. One might be sociologically this way. One might be whatever. They got all these different ways of running how they want. Everybody turned to our country. Everybody turned to, we're a superpower. Look at us. We're China. Buy our cheap products so we can build up our military. For what? Why? This country was headed for nice and peaceful, and now they're all these freaking stupid. This is so stupid. This is so freaking stupid. All these countries, we keep giving them, here they, the second they realize, well, all this cheap stuff's coming from China, we're supporting China, and they're building up their military. I'm not even going to get in. I've already talked about building up, why it's wrong. All these countries are wrong for building up military. This is ridiculous. Communism and socialism on a ballot. For how many years? How many years has socialism come? I'm going to have to look that up. How long? How many years? Was it right after? Was it on the ballot before 1945? Was communism on the ballot before 1945? And all these people they sent over into another country hadn't voted yet. Let's go over to France and free France because the dang well, that was the Nazis back then. They were socialists, and then freaking Russia was communist. Helping all these different countries. They ain't aligned with us. Why should we go to another country if they're aligned? If they're aligned with themselves or some other country, they're communist, socialist, whatever. Why should we go in there? The humanitarian? No. I'll tell you what. The only time we should go in there and help them if they're paying freaking taxes to us. They say, hey, we want to be part of America, and here's what we're gonna do. We're gonna change our policies around. We're gonna do this. We're gonna do that. We're gonna accept your agenda. We're going to do everything. Oh, but now we're being attacked. We need some help, man. If we're going to be in this area, if we're going to be like America, we're going to be part of America in this part of the planet. We're going to attack by socialists and communists and all these other radical groups. We need some help. That's the only time. Hey, they're paying taxes to us. That's part of us. Why should we help another country? We should, if anything, we should have our not delegates, not people that go to our whole thing should be, hey, yeah, we'd help you. Why give money to another country to help build socialism, to help build communism? They're like, well, we give aid and stuff so people don't starve. What year? This is 2019? And on this planet, we have all this information and all this news about how messed up all these leaders and all these countries are. I mean, all these countries that have these starving people, and they're treating their people like slaves, like China. What do they pay people to put Mardi Gras beads there? What, $10 or 10 cents a day to work 12-hour days putting Mardi Gras beads together. I mean, they're sitting there burning their fingers, and they have to live at work. They get up in the morning, and their work is like in 2 rooms away. Their boss just goes in there and rapes them. And then they got to go back to their family in the rural areas, pregnant from a boss, because, well, the boss isn't going to marry them. That was just one of the fringe benefits of being a boss of a Chinese company, is raping the girls that work for 10 cents an hour. Yeah, you can just go through a room, rape them all. They all get pregnant, and then they go back to the rural areas and have babies. That way, the boss is thinking, well, they're building up farms. Farms need more they need more people on the farm. So now this girl goes back. She's what, 18, 20 years old, 16, 20 years old, and she's going back pregnant to her poor family that, can barely make enough rice to feed what they got there with the kids they got there. And so she goes into the city to get a job, so she frees up the strain of the poor farmers in the rural areas. So she goes in, and the freaking rich guy driving around Mercedes-Benz, making all the money and having all the slave labor. Oh, they're not slaves. They're making 10 cents a day. They're living right here. We're giving them shelter. They got enough to buy a purse every year. They can buy a purse worth $1 every year. And then I get them pregnant. They work here a year. Then I get them pregnant. They get a pretty little purse for $1. I get them pregnant, and then I send them back to their rural areas so they can help farm. And they got another person on the way to help farm. And that's what the rich people in China do. That's how we are. We just go around getting people pregnant, anybody we want. We just rape anybody we want because there are no laws against rape here. Blah blah blah. Freaking planet.